The tower. Zosimos was tinkering with a brass gadget full of springs and gears when he heard the knock on his door. Who could that be? He mumbled to himself, and opened the door to find Anon standing there, looking much worse for wear than when he had seen him last. Anon, I thought you were dead. You wouldn't believe me if I told you, Zosimos. Besides, there's no time to explain. I think I know where the high priestess is. Anon pushed past the alchemist and walked into the hut. Where? Where do you think she was taken? Zosimos asked. I went to speak with the former Hierophant, Anon said. He seemed to have some knowledge of her whereabouts, but all he told me was that I shouldn't worry about her and that she had gone to a place that once was. You went to see Hermes Trismegistus? Zosimos said in disbelief. Yes, but like I said, he wasn't much help. It took me forever to figure out what he meant by a place that once was, and then it hit me. The old tower on the cliffs. You said it used to be an observatory, remember? I don't know why, but I have this really strong feeling that she's up there. A place that once was, Zosimo repeated. Yes, I suppose that could be. It's somewhere that the Emperor's men would not think to look. Can I borrow your sword and that cup? Excuse me? That silver chalice thing you keep around your neck. Anon clarified. I need another cloud. What? Zosimos then realized what Anon was proposing. Impossible. It takes years to master even the basic principles of alchemy. You couldn't possibly make a cloud on your first try. Why don't I just fly us both up there? No. I need to do this alone, Zosimos. Your presence might scare off her captor. I'm a stranger in these lands, remember? He might let his guard down around me. Even if I were to give you these items, Zosimos says, it takes a trained alchemist to know how to use them. Show me, Anon said. Okay, well, the first thing you need to understand in alchemy is each element is represented by an object. Air is represented by the swords. Water is represented by the cups. When you use them together, it is possible to create a cloud. Observe. Zosimos removed his sword from its sheath and held it before him. With the other hand he grasped the silver chalice that was hanging from around his neck and uttered the words, Ina lilia minala safala, wala safala minala lilia. Before him appeared a thin wispy cloud that played in the air like an otter in a stream before dissipating into a fine mist. You are truly a great alchemist, Zosimos, Anon said. It was nothing, Zosimos said, flattered by Anon's comment. I am capable of much more. Can I give it a shot? Well, I suppose, Zosimos says, but I don't expect anything to happen. Alchemy is not so easily performed. The alchemist handed Anon the sword and hung the chalice around his neck. Anon held the sword out in front of him perpendicular to the ground, just as Zosimos had. In the other hand he grasped the chalice. What were those words you said? They were ancient Hermetic words for a transmutation of the elements. Inanna elia min ala safala wala safala min ala aliyah. Anon repeated them, and to their mutual surprise a faint cloud appeared in the air before them and went flying around the hut, knocking over a brass wheel and breaking a set of vials in its chaotic trajectory. Zosimos had to duck to avoid the cloud hitting him square in the face before it vanished into a puff of mist. Well, I'll be damned. I've never seen someone perform a transmutation so quickly. What can I say? I'm a man without a shadow, Anon said, winking. You would have done great at the academy. Maybe in another life, Zosimos. Now how do I control it? Control is all a matter of focus. You must think of the cloud as an extension of your own body. Anon began to say the ancient words again when Zosimos interrupted. May I suggest that we move this experiment outside? He gestured to the mess the previous cloud had created. Good idea, Anon said. Once outside, Anon created another cloud, this time more substantial. He tested it with his foot and finding it supportive, sat his entire weight on it. Remember, Zosimos said, control is about focus. If you lose your focus, the cloud will disappear and you will come falling back to Earth. I think I got it, Zosimos. Anon took the cloud on a spin around the alchemist's hut, and on his return flew within a few inches of Zosimos, nearly knocking the alchemist over as he passed. Anon turned the cloud around and piloted it to a stop right in front of the befuddled alchemist. Very impressive, Zosimos said. Take note of this face, Zosimos. Next time you see me, I'm going to be the savior of the realm. We'll see about that, Zosimos said. Anon directed the cloud upward and zoomed off in the direction of the forgotten cliffs. Don't throw any rocks while you're up there, Zosimos hollered after the young hero before he flew out of earshot. The sheer cliff face rushed past Anon as the cloud carried him even higher, with his attention focused on reaching the top of the precipice. Anon guided his diaphanous vehicle up and over the edge of the cliffs and landed it deftly on the high plateau. Before him stood the old stone observatory. Its upper parapets and ramparts lay shattered on the ground, leaving behind a jagged outline where they had once been attached. The windows were vacant holes blackened by some fire that had raged there. He took a deep breath and approached the entrance. The same uneasy feeling he had felt when he first gazed upon the tower came over him. A pair of charred wooden doors hung loosely from their hinges. He expected the high priestess to be guarded by some malevolent kings or dark henchmen, but Anon passed through the entrance unmolested. Wind whistled through the tower's broken windows, and Anon began the climb up its winding staircase. Each floor brought him to new rooms, but they contained only charred remains of scrolls and fire-blackened instruments of unknown purpose. The air got colder, and Anon suspected that he would soon reach the broken top of the tower. He was beginning to lose hope that the high priestess was there at all. Maybe he had misinterpreted the hermit's words. If he could not find the high priestess, what was left for him in this land? Other than Zosimos, the entire realm regarded him as a monster, and the only place that actually welcomed him was hell itself. Anon rounded the final return of the staircase and stopped short as it opened up to the topmost floor of the tower. Before him stood a man who looked exactly like himself.